27 years ago. We'll get into that later. Thank you, sir.
So I got some quotes from his presentation. He said, "It amazes me how evolutionists can oversimplify." I got it. It amazes me how he can oversimplify science. Listening to his tirade was one of the most simplistic versions of science I've ever heard, and I was really astonished. I mean, the writers of Star Trek get it much better, not only in the details, but in general pictures. According to all physicists, biologists, astronomers, geologists, chemists, and all the others, these people that spend their lives getting PhDs and working in labs, oh, a bunch of fools. After all, it is obvious that they missed something that a 70-year-old could get just in a minute. Do you smell the rot there? It is really conceivable, a conceivable thing. I mean, these people are all a bunch of idiots out there that are being paid, and they spend a lot of time studying to come up with things that, golly, if you just think about it for 1 second, you realize that they're wrong. I think the thing is a little more complicated than that, than you can think of it myself. And by the way, what is the problem with bananas anyway? There's so many problems. There's a problem with bananas. Evolutionists don't say that dogs or monkeys come from bananas. That's not what we say. Now, men also consider that he has managed to talk for over 30 minutes, no, for about 30 minutes, and said nothing, not a single thing, in favor of the creationist model. He seems to be thinking that you win by default, but this is not a match. This is not a sports match. It's not if the opponent leaves, you're left the winner. The burden of proof is on both sides, not on one. It's not because you find a couple of problems with evolution, which any evolutionary biologist, by the way, would gladly say that there are problems with evolution. I'm a professional evolutionary biologist. If there were no problems with evolution, if we knew everything, I would be out of a job. And that wouldn't be good. So it's in my interest that there are problems. Now he said, if the Big Bang and the origin of life are not science, why not get them out of the textbooks? Well, you didn't listen. That's not what I said. I said that Big Bang and the origin of life are not questions within evolutionary biology. Not that they're not science. I did say that they're science. I even proposed a couple of areas of science that are actually working on those problems. So they're not supposed to get out of the textbooks. They're supposed to get into the physics textbooks and into the chemistry textbooks, respectively, not in evolutionary biology textbooks. And by the way, they are not in evolutionary biology textbooks. The origin of life is mentioned in the beginning, a few paragraphs in some general biology books, but not in evolutionary biology textbooks. Evolutionary biology just doesn't deal with it. I want to be a millionaire. Mr. Owen here proposed $250,000. I've heard that it has been getting higher and higher, apparently, the amount of money you're giving. Well, he gives this to whoever proves beyond reasonable doubt, of course to his satisfaction, that evolution is the cause of the existence of highly ordered universes, which I said evolution is nothing to say about the order of the universe. The variety of life forms on Earth, that is evolution. And the fact that man is the most advanced of such life forms, I don't even know what most advanced life form actually means. There are plenty of animals that do much better on this planet than we do, so I don't understand what that word means. But anyway, I did give my evidence on all those counts to Mr. Owen. The last time we met in Atlanta a few months ago, I don't even receive a reply. I don't have the money. Now, Mr. Owen's tall tales are very interesting. The kind of tales that you find in the following sources. One of the things, if you visit his website, is very instructive. I spent countless enjoyable minutes on it. For example, he believes that dinosaurs live among us, and what is the proof? Well, by golly, there is a picture of the Loch Ness monster over there. Of course, that has been debunked, and that kind of pictures you find usually things like the Weekly World News, together with a jumping at blockbuster, and the Chicago woman has 3 brains, and things of that sort. That's the kind of evidence that we have. He claims that that picture has not been debunked. It has. He also believes that evolution has been shown to be false, because there was a link to his from your website to this kind of source. This would really be a problem with evolutionary biologists. This is supposed to be a dinosaur skeleton, dinosaur skull, directly eating a human being. Now, if you're about paleontologists, you smell another rot right there. And sure enough, that was actually an April Fool. It was a hoax put up by the News for Mexican Science in Reason. And they did say that was an April Fool, of course, after April 1st. This novel is not even on the mainstream of the creationist establishment. He mentioned Dr. Duane Gish, which I had the pleasure of debating several times, from the Institute for Creation Research. Well, Dr. Gish disagrees with several things that Mr. Darwin believes in. For example, Mr. Darwin believes that this is a real thing. This is the Biloxi River in Texas, so-called human tracks, which are found right next to dinosaurs. And again, one of those proofs that dinosaurs existed at the same time as humans. Too bad that being the blind, they're actually dinosaur tracks. And not even the Institute for Creation Research believes this thing anymore. Mr. Darwin does, at least the last time I checked his website. I would maintain that his predictions are pretty bogus. He had on his website, he's not there anymore now, that the New World Order will implement the World Domination Plan by May 5, 2000. The world's population will be reduced then to 500 million people. Well, it hasn't happened, has it? So what calendar are we using here? Certainly not the regular one, because we still haven't seen a New World Order, and the population, unfortunately, is up to 6 billion. Now, there's a series of other preposterous statements. I'm just going to list them because it's really difficult to disprove them, and they don't require to disprove. The Smithsonian Institute killed thousands of people to augment their collection of human miscellaneous. 5 billion people could drown in Loch Ness and nobody would notice. You have any idea how large? Loch Ness is large, but it's not that large. 5 billion people is a lot of people. Evolution is responsible for what happened in the Indians. Meaning the Americans, the Native Americans. I don't know what that is talking about, so I had to do some research. And it turns out actually that the Trail of Tears, which is what he's referring to, the forced removal of the Cherokees, happened in 1838. Well, the origin of species, which marks the beginning of evolution biology, was probably in 1859. That was about, what, 30 years later. How can evolution be responsible for something at the time in which it happened? Evolution wasn't even around. The Great Pyramid was not built by the Egyptians. Well, go tell that to the Egyptians because they're very proud of it. UFOs are Satan's way of getting around. I don't think there's any evidence that UFOs are even around, let alone that Satan uses them as spaceships. And what would Satan need spaceships anyway? And finally, microchips will play an important part in the mark of the beast. I don't even know what that is, but probably, if it refers to Bill Gates, I can probably believe that. So, I think there is only one reality out there. One of us is profoundly mistaken. Of course, you can guess who I think is profoundly mistaken. You have to decide for yourself, of course, not tonight. My main goal tonight was really to confuse your ideas as much as possible. That is the first step toward enlightenment. Once that you're not so sure of your position, then you can start going on there, go to the library, read some books, read some articles, keep thinking about these things for the rest of your life, because they're not that easy. 70-year-olds do not grasp these topics on the spot, and neither does anyone else over here. But so you have these two choices. Innumerable scientists with legitimate PhDs who brought in the car, the computer, and the gods on one side. Well, they tell you that to go and look for the evidence, think for yourself. But look at the evidence, the real evidence. Go to a paleontological museum, go and look go to the zoo even. Go and look at these things and see if it doesn't make sense to think that they are related to each other by common descent. Or, you can listen to somebody who has a clear ideological agenda. Incidentally, there is a variety of ideological beliefs among scientists. You can find anything from Christians and Muslims, Buddhists, atheists, agnostics, and all of that. So there's no ideological bias, which means that science is not a religion, no matter what Mr. Darwin would like it to be. On the other hand, there is a clear bias on the other side. Essentially, every single creationist that I know not only belongs to a particular religion, but it belongs to a particular subset of that religion. That seems to be a bias. And those are based on tall tales, and there's a very large price to pay for distortion or ignorance, and that price we're going to pay as a society every single day. The reason we teach evolution in public school is because it's good science. It is not perfect